This video is going to explain to you how to complete the critical summary, which is one of the last parts that you have to do for this assignment. What a critical summary is, it's like well, it's in the name, it's a summary. It summarizes everything that you have learned in this investigation. One of the key goals of the critical summary is to answer the key question, which is included in this student exemplar below. Let's just go through bit by bit, looking at these different colors up here. The first one, the yellow one, is a brief summary of all of your sources. So pretty much what that means is you say the first source I used was this, and you describe the source in a sentence or two, just what the source was, who wrote it, when it was written, what is the source, what is the information in the source. The second bit is at least one sentence per source that talks about how useful the sources were in answering your key and sub-questions. We talked about this a little bit in task 6, so you're actually just going back to that, taking those sentences that you wrote and putting it into task 9. Really, the critical summary, as well as you found out the rationale, is just restating things that you've already done and just putting it into one paragraph altogether. So let's have a look at the student here in the green. They say this source directly answered my sub-question. They mention the sub-question, and it talks about how it answered the sub-question here. So that's the green bit there. How are the sources useful? The next bit, the student didn't do this in their example, and they'll mark down for it. But what they had to do is you had to write one sentence at least saying how reliable or trustworthy your sources are. So what you're going to say is something like this: these sources which were used were trustworthy because maybe they were there and they saw it happen. Maybe they are an expert on the topic. There's lots of reasons why a source will be trustworthy or reliable. There's a video at the bottom of the page to help you answer those questions. Whether or not your sources contradict or agree with each other, this student didn't talk about this either. So make sure you include a sentence or two just saying, this source said the same thing as these other sources. They all say the same thing. Or maybe one of your sources has a different perspective. So you're just mentioning that. Lastly, as I said, the key point of the critical summary is to answer your key question. So make sure you are answering your key question nice and clearly like this student has done. Their question was, what was the most significant technological advancement in the Industrial Revolution? Make sure you're having a very clear, the experience of Chinese gold miners was, or the experience of convict women was, or the experience of free settlers, or lives of convicts who arrived on the first fleet changed in this way. Make sure it's nice and clear. And the last bit in grey, make sure you state if your hypothesis was proven correct. So my hypothesis was proven correct because, and then explain why it was. So there's 6 things you've got to include in your critical summary. There's a video down the bottom to help you with reliability and trustworthiness, but that is all the information that you need to be able to write a critical summary, remembering that all of it is already in part 6 anyway, task 6, sorry, anyway, so you're already most of the way there. It's just about putting it all together in one paragraph.